This video explains exactly what grey area drinking is and how and why so many of us get stuck in this cycle for potentially decades. If there's one message that I'd like you to take from this video is you don't have to label yourself. You don't have to call yourself any names. You just have to be confident that if it's a problem for you, it's a problem for you, no matter how much you're drinking. What exactly is grey area drinking? It's a place where many of us find ourselves. We're not drinking hard liquor at the beginning of the day, but the likelihood is you're drinking most days, and often you go further with your drinking than you planned. It's very common for us to tell ourselves I'll just have one or two, and then we find that the bottle is almost finished. The negative consequences are perhaps not as obvious, but you wake up feeling off, foggy, flat, and quite possibly very anxious. The chances are you're also wondering, how is it that I can't seem to stop at one? And how is it that other people seem to be able to drink moderately? The truth is you're definitely not alone. Research from the World Health Organization has told us that there are hundreds of millions of people that sit in this middle and quite messy grey area drinking zone. It's enough to affect our health, both mentally and physically, but it's not necessarily enough to raise serious alarms. Grey area drinking is the middle between no risk, where we're not drinking at all, once in a while, which is a couple of glasses, maybe once or twice a month, and severe alcohol use disorder, when we need to go into a clinic to have medically supervised detox. The signs and symptoms of grey area drinking can start out as quite subtle. Our sleep may be interrupted, we might notice a bit of weight gain, energy crashes, and signs of inflammation in the body. Our mental health is also impacted very slowly, with poor concentration, possible lack of motivation, anxiety on a regular basis, or general low mood or depression. Relationships can also be impacted. When we're drinking like this, we tend to be more irritable. This creates tension, unnecessary arguments. We may find ourselves isolating, drinking alone, and notice that it's impacting our performance and our engagement at work. And lastly, our potential. Many people have been drinking for 10, 20, 30 years. So the way that they operate, even if they're extremely successful, can feel normal. It feels like this is just how life is. However, grey area drinkers tend to suffer internally from an inner critic that is constantly telling them they should quit or cut back. They have sometimes low self-esteem, they lose sight of goals, dreams, and ambitions, and their potential is slowly ebbing away. Here are some things that grey area drinkers, including myself, say internally. They know it's bad for them, but they don't drink as much as others, so surely it can't be that bad. They don't want their kids or partner to notice that they're drinking this much, but they're also aware that it's affecting their moods. They get a sense of really not liking themselves very much. People also find that even if they don't drink every day, when they do, it's very hard for them to stop at one or two. The label of an alcoholic is a huge deterrent to grey area drinkers actually seeking the support they need and deserve. They don't like who they become, and they often wake up with regret and disappointment. The high achiever, who's very prone to grey area drinking, is very motivated to get things done. However, they're starting to notice that their drinking is impairing them, is getting in the way. Many grey areas tell themselves, I can stop when I want to. However, something always comes up and I end up going back to drinking. And lastly, the common fear that if they stop drinking, their life will be changed, their life as they know it. They're afraid of never enjoying themselves again, or being boring or judged. I can relate to all of these. Before I quit drinking, I was terrified of people thinking I had a problem, and I was terrified of the idea of never drinking again. So here are some of the signs: negative consequences in our physical and mental health, in our relationships, and in our self-esteem and sense of potential. We drink more than we intend. It's getting in the way of us achieving our goals, and we have the capacity to start and stop drinking. This is a diagram of the cycle. There's an attempt to stop, the justification to start again. We go back to drinking. We perhaps drink as much or potentially more than we were drinking before. We experience the inner conflict again, and so we take some time off and stop drinking. This cycle can take a week, a month, a year, but it's a very common cycle that many drinkers are stuck in. Society doesn't make it easy not to drink. However, the World Health Organization estimates 2.6 million deaths a year as a result of alcohol. This is the explicit cost. But behind the scenes, the impact isn't just in the hospitals. It's in our homes, it's in our offices, and it's in those moments that we sit in quiet self-doubt, feeling incongruent. And if you're anything like me, there was a real sense of helplessness and feeling stuck. Society normalizes after work drinking and using alcohol as a way of self-care. But the reality is that so many of us are exhausted, anxious, and we've lost the ability to unwind, relax, relieve stress, and reward ourselves in healthy ways. Grey area drinking is not a moral failing. It's firstly a mismatch between the amount of stress that we have in our lives and our lack of healthy coping tools, and also a lack of understanding about how drinking impacts neurochemistry. To learn more about the science of why it's so hard to just stop at one, there's another video below. Just click on the link there. In the meantime, if you are struggling with grey area drinking, remember this. If it's a problem for you, it's a problem for you. You don't need to label yourself. You don't need to admit to any severe problem. You just need to know that your unique biochemistry and alcohol are just a bad combination. It doesn't say anything about you as a person. I hope you've enjoyed this video and understand a bit more now about grey area drinking.